and they don't take longer to fucking do their hair than they write their fucking song.
Day 2, I had my interview with Seether. Seether's publicist ended up getting back to me like immediately saying that we get some time. We actually did interview Sean Morgan, the singer of Seether, a couple of years ago when Alternative Nation was Grunge Report. I always had heard the name Seether, but I never really knew which songs was theirs when I was like little. And then when I was in high school, I heard the song Broken with Amy Lee for the first time, and I was like, oh, this is who Seether is? Like, wow, this is a great song. I always listened, all throughout high school, I listened to Audio Slave's Pandora station. And then I got some other Seether songs because like I got to know it through that. So I got Fake It, Country Song, Rise Above This, Breakdown, Fine Again, all the hits. My uncle and aunt are really huge fans of Seether, and they have like a bunch of their discs. So one time when I was there, I imported all the CDs they had of theirs into my iTunes. So, I started listening to them a little bit more. They have an incredible song catalog. I mean, their hits are great, but all their songs are just really deep. Like, they don't have any stupid songs that are just about like nonsense. That's one way that I measure how good a song is not only how it sounds, but how deep it is and how a bunch of different people can relate to it in really different ways. I always noticed, I was like, yeah, see, their songs are like really deep and like kind of depressing, but like they're real. I have this mindset about everything, is that there's optimists, there's pessimists, and then there's realists. I think the more educated you are about everything that's going on around you, the more upset you are going to be, because there's not a light at the end of every single tunnel. Seether is a really, really relative band for people who have realistic viewpoints about everything that's going on, and it's very emotional. But I didn't really know anything about Seether, so last week, after I was like, you know what, like I need to brush up, I need to get some like knowledge about them, I started listening to a couple of their interviews, a couple like really long interviews, and some were just with Sean Morgan and some were with the whole band. His realistic perspective is like what reflects in his lyrics. Like he literally talks basically the way he writes. He talks about a lot of depressing things that have happened in his life, and he had a really shitty upbringing, and then his experience with Amy Lee and the breakup was just awful. People would drive around, and if they'd see him, they'd blast "Call Me When You're Sober" out of the car because they knew that it was directed at him. And they would wear Evanescence shirts to his concert and like throw things and yell things up at stage. Like, why? I don't know. Like, go get a life and don't go to a Seether concert just to harass the singer. But I actually started really, really looking forward to this interview. Like, at first I was kind of like a little intimidated because I didn't really know anything about them. But as I started listening to more and more stuff about them, I was like I'm actually really excited to speak to this guy. Okay, so Sunday comes, I brought my uncle with me, and he was going to record the interview. So we went upstairs once we got back to the media pavilion and looked around a little bit. At first, I didn't know if this was him or not because he had a hat on, so his hair wasn't like all long and in his face like how it usually is. But I recognized his tattoo. So yeah, like he came over, he was very friendly, and shook my hand and sat down with me, and then we had like a pretty good conversation. This was more interview style, obviously, than Taylor's was because it was like once he would get to the point of what he was saying, and then he would stop and then wait for me to ask the next one. So it definitely was more of an interview style, but it was also still very comfortable. We were laughing and got into some deep stuff. About halfway through the interview, the camera actually ran out of storage that we were using. My uncle ended up whipping out his phone and filming the rest of it on his phone. So when I made the video for it, I did put a still in the middle, like the very last still of the video that before it ran out of storage. I froze it and I extended it through the rest of the time that there's no video, because I recorded it on the audio thing too, just to be safe, which I'm glad I did. So I just like overlaid the audio track over it. It's about a minute and it's right in the middle, but there's about 11 minutes of footage. So it definitely it's not ideal to have this frozen still in the middle of an interview, but I think, being able to actually see the visual component and hear the tone in his voice and see his reactions and his body language, I think that's like one component of an interview that's really important, which is what makes it so much better than written ones. So if you happen to watch that, I apologize about the glitch that's in the middle, but he shares a lot of really good insights on things, and I definitely think it's worth like watching all the way through. Afterwards, I asked for a picture. I introduced him to my uncle because my uncle was a huge fan, and he was freaking out a little bit. I thought that this was the one thing in my life that I would be having anxiety over, and it was just really comfortable So I'm really excited about how everything turned out. I told both him and Taylor that I will be at Rock on the Range, and they were like, "Oh, we'll see you soon." So hopefully I run into them again. That'd be pretty cool if they remembered me. I ended up not seeing anybody else on Sunday either. We heard Alter Bridge for a little while, but after the interview, we got so drunk before Seether's set. I made a montage of the weekend, and it's on my channel. It's the Welcome to Rockville 2017 video, and there's clips from the interviews and from some of the performances and stuff. Definitely check it out. I'll provide the links for everything once it's all posted below. I'm ecstatic about everything because my first two interviews in general were with two pretty big names. I'm looking forward to what's to come, and I'll definitely keep you guys updated and in the loop. Thanks.